Scarface, Big Al, public enemy number one. Al Capone is one of the most famous criminals in American history. He was once the face of the American Mafia, a man who not only controlled the crime that took place in his city, but the law that tried to fight it. Today we're going to be going over how this icon went from a low-level thug to one of the most famous gangsters in all of America. This video is brought to you by Historic Autograph Company. Check out the link in the description to see all the sweet trading cards and relics we put in our products. Make sure you check out our upcoming product, Mob 2. Learn about gangsters like Al Capone, Lucky Luciano, Meyer Lansky, and how these criminals dominated the underworld. Capone was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899. His parents were Italian immigrants who immigrated to the U.S. about 6 years prior. Capone didn't have an easy life growing up. Being an immigrant, poor, and in a tough neighborhood, he was drawn to crime very early in his life. His life of crime would really start when he got involved with the 5 Points Gang. While with the 5 Points Gang, Capone would meet his mentor, John Torrio, and another famous gangster, Lucky Luciano. In 1919, Capone made the move to Chicago, after being invited by his mentor Torrio. Not long after this move, the government of the United States gave gangsters all over the country a chance to make a big payday. The Prohibition Era in the United States began in 1920. This is when the U.S. decided to ban the production, importation, and sale of alcohol. It did not take long for the criminals of the country to sink their teeth into this racket. And for Capone, this was the perfect opportunity for him to rise in his gang. Capone was the right-hand man to John Torrio, and their gang, the Chicago Outfit, dominated crime in their city. In the beginning in 1925, Capone's boss was returning from a shopping trip with his wife, where he was unfortunately ambushed and shot several times. Torrio survived this attempt on his life, but decided to hand over the gang to Al Capone, who at the time was only 26 years old. The Chicago Outfit under Capone's leadership thrived. Capone's gang would engage in bootlegging, gambling, and other racketeering, while also committing crimes like theft and murder. Despite these criminal activities, Capone was a celebrity to the American people. He ran soup kitchens, helped the poor, showed the people that he was there to help. While today, most gangsters try to stay out of the public eye, Capone had no issues there. He would even attend baseball games, where spectators there would cheer him on. They viewed him as a modern-day Robin Hood. Capone even had protection from the local politicians of Chicago. Between them and protection from police, there was nothing stopping him from controlling all the crime in the city. He did have his enemies, however. Capone and the Chicago Outfit ran into conflict with the Irish gangs of Chicago, mainly the North Side Gang. The rivalry between the Chicago Outfit and the North Side Gang was a defining chapter in organized crime during the Prohibition Era. These two gangs would constantly fight over who was going to control bootlegging in Chicago. And North Side Gang leader Bugs Moran was Capone's main enemy. Capone organized a plot to take out Bugs Moran. Capone ordered one of the most famous mob hits in U.S. history. On February 14, 1929, at around 10:30 a.m., four men, two of them dressed as police, entered a garage. The garage had 7 men inside from the North Side gang. The four men pulled out Thompson submachine guns and started blasting the North Side gang members. Capone was at his Florida home at the time, but authorities were very quickly to blame him for the attack. Moran, who was the target, was not there. But although the North Side gang didn't lose their leader, they still took a huge blow from the outfit. This event became known as the St. Valentines Day Massacre. Capone's strategic alliances and brutal tactics ultimately allowed him to gain the upper hand in his war with the Irish. The massacre didn't completely take out the North Side gang, but they were never able to recover, and Capone's Chicago outfit would come out on top of their war. Although Capone was victorious in this war, he didn't quite realize the bridges he had burned. After the massacre, the media dubbed Capone public enemy number 1. He lost a lot of his celebrity status, and the federal government was determined to bring him to justice. Even the President of the United States, Herbert Hoover, said the government would aid in taking down Capone and his empire. Capone now had new enemies to worry about. This new enemy? A team of law enforcement officers who got the nickname the Untouchables. They were considered untouchable because no matter how many times Capone and the Chicago outfit would try to bribe them, the officers always turned it down. The Untouchables were led by Elliot Ness. The Untouchables were able to locate several breweries and distilleries in and around Chicago. They would raid these territories and burn Capone's bootlegging operation to the ground. They did this while the government worked to build a case against Capone. In 1931, Capone was convicted of tax evasion and sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Capone would be sent to the United States Penitentiary in Atlanta. It was here that he was officially diagnosed with syphilis. In August of 1934, he would be moved to the famous Alcatraz prison. While at Alcatraz, Capone's health would decline. Due to his failing health, Capone was released from prison in 1939. He retired from his life of crime and spent the remainder of his days in Florida. On January 21st, 1947, Capone would have a stroke, and then the next day suffered a cardiac arrest. Just 3 days after that, he died after his heart failed. He was only 48 years old. Al Capone's legacy is one of crime and notoriety. His life and criminal empire have been the subject of numerous books, movies, and TV shows. Actors like Robert De Niro, John Bernthal, and Tom Hardy have all portrayed Capone on screen. Al Capone's story continues to be told to this day. He continues to be one of the faces of the Chicago outfit and the Italian-American mafia. His story, and many other stories of gangsters, will always show that crime doesn't pay.